Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at 6 starts now.
We continue to count it down, less than 2 days away from the Lions taking on Tampa Bay in the NFC divisional round at Ford Field. A win Sunday would put the Lions in the NFC Championship game for the first time since 1991's season.
Everyone is feeling excitement right now. Bernie's here with how the team is preparing for such a big game.
Well, I think I speak for everyone when I say it's time to get tight, a touch nauseous, and get hydrated, because the Lions and Bucks are right around the corner from their meeting at Ford Field. Again, whoever wins will be playing for a trip to the Super Bowl next week. We've got highlights. Lions worked out today. They finished up their final workout for the game. They're still favored by 6.5 against a Bucks team that has really been hot, won 6 of their last 7. Dan Campbell said today his team knows what the venue will be like. All they got to do is play football.
For any of the butterflies, all of that, of the first playoff game ever for a lot of guys, and get the monkey off your back. Well, now you're in a second playoff game. Now you've got experience in that. You understand the environment. You understand what our house is going to be like, which is electric, which should give you a surge of energy.
All right, Dan Campbell, 3 o'clock Sunday afternoon, not Saturday. Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
I still can't believe we're still talking about this is happening. This is actually happening.
Well, if you think about it, for the last 30 years, you haven't spoken of Lions in January, so that's why it's like, what's going on?
Isn't this nice?
Yeah.
Good. Thanks, Bernie.
All right, Bernie. More coming up from Bernie here in a bit. Detroit police stepping up patrols downtown to try to give Lions fans another safe playoff experience. DPD says they will have officers strategically placed inside and outside Ford Field. The department says it had virtually no disorderly arrests during last week's game and hopes to repeat that success. On Sunday, there will be even more people, though, downtown with the Lions game because the Lions play at 3 and then the Red Wings play at 7. Police urge you to be patient with traffic, watch for any road changes designed to ease your trip into and out of the city, and also we keep, unfortunately, this is a sign of the times, we keep talking about beware of parking scams. Detroit police say you should never be asked to pay cash to park on public streets.
Make sure that you find legal parking on a street, in a lot. At no time will you ever be charged to park on a public street here in the city. So we want to make sure that you find legal parking. A parking attendant will be there with a button on, as well as insignia to show that they are a company. So those are the things that we're looking out for.
Yep, can help to really ask for ID if the person is asking you to park for money where you're parking. A Grosse Pointe Woods family has had Lions season tickets now since the 1950s. As the team is coming up on their second playoff game. Pretty clear the family's commitment has finally paid off.
Finally, Megan Wood spoke to that family. And Megan, they're actually calling it bittersweet tonight.
Yeah, bittersweet indeed. The biggest fan in this family, Jim Frazier, passed away in September, and he would go to every home game with a hat saying waiting since '57. And so now his family likes to think that he's still with them at the games, rooting for the Lions.
Jim loved the Lions.
Jim Frazier wasn't your ordinary Lions superfan. Let his nephews and widow tell you it was in his blood.
The legend has it is that my great-grandfather was part of the Detroit Football Company, and so it was just something that we did every Sunday, was either watch the Lions or go to the games.
And he made sure they knew it was in their blood too.
We were not allowed to go to a game until we learned the fight song.
That was always the deal. He took us as a kid, and they said when he got older, we had to take him to the game. So we ended up taking him to the games when he couldn't drive down there anymore.
He even tried to incorporate his love for the Lions with the love of his life on their wedding day.
Jim wanted TVs put on every table at the yacht club where people. I said, no, Jim, we can't do that.
But they did watch the game in the limo on their way to the reception. That's why this season's success is bittersweet. Jim died the day of this season's home opener.
People were asking about him the day we went to the game, and he passed away that game. But they've been on a winning streak ever since then.
I still say up in heaven he's having something to do with what's going on now, and go Lions! That's what I want. And even at his funeral, when they put his body in the ground, we stopped everything and we sang the Lions song at the end.
And that family was here at Ford Field last weekend, and they plan to be here on Sunday. Reporting live from Ford Field, I'm Megan Woods, Local 4.
Oh, Megan. Yeah, thanks for sharing that.
Right.
Jim's family for sharing that in the pictures. It was just wonderful.
Love it.
Wonderful
Love
to
it.
see. All right, well, you know, parents of defensive end Aiden Hutchinson have had a front row seat to his historic season, seeing their son in the center of it.
KG's been on Lions assignment this afternoon,
Yes,
sitting down
lucky.
with some folks we're excited to hear from, and Aiden's parents seem as lovely as they seem, right?
They are, and I feel like I'm kind of becoming the official correspondent to all the
That's you.
all the Detroit Lions parents. I love it. I love every bit of it.
So good.
But as you know, before being drafted by the Detroit Lions 2 years ago, Aiden played football at U of M. And even though he wasn't on this national championship team, his parents and I talked about some of the similarities of what got Michigan to that win and what we're seeing at Ford Field.
I felt like last week was kind of like breaking through a brick wall, like the Ohio State game.
Yeah.
And it became that emotional. And this week's like the Big Ten champs. And so, you know, that you got to like be in, you know, you got to be prepared. But you have this like view of a summit that you're just like, after you broke through that wall, there's this summit and it's like, it's yours for the taking, you know?
And it's very similar to what happened at Michigan. And,
yes, exactly.
You know, I'm not going to take too much. He's not going to take too much credit, but certainly he was a part of both of those.
He's a huge part of why the Lions are where they are today, and that's got to make you feel so good as parents.
Oh, it's amazing.
We don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but there are, yeah, exactly. I can't wait to finish telling you this story. During our pregame special this Sunday, you're going to hear so much more from the Hutchinson family, including the special bond between Aiden and his father. It's one special way that they communicate during the game.
During the game
that I cannot wait to tell you about. But just, they're great parents. I loved our conversation. I could have talked for hours, but I had to be back.
We can't, because there's other parents for you to cover too.
That's right.
But to get to play for your home team, it just doesn't have, you know, things just have to fall just right.
And they did in so many ways. And they talk about that too, you know, just being able to run down to Ford Field. And, you know, it's just, they're so lucky and blessed.
Really
it's great.
All that work leading to this.
Yeah.
All right, thanks so much, Kimberly. You know, Local 4 is the place for Lions football this weekend. Coverage starts at noon on Sunday.
We are going to start with a look back at the Lions' last trip to the divisional round of the playoffs in the 1991 season. And then at 1 o'clock, it's our all-in playoff pregame show live from Ford Field. You'll see the game here, of course, live on Local 4 at 3 p.m. And then we hope you'll stick around for post-game reaction and analysis to the hopefully good things that happen.
That's right. We're sending good vibes. Also, head to clickondetroit.com right now for a chance to win one of 2 official Herman Lowe Detroit Lions blankets. We are going to be announcing the winners live on Sunday's pregame show.
That's great.
All right, new at 6 here tonight, a Troy apartment building is hit with a do not occupy order.
Yeah, the order was issued at the Troy Place Apartments near West Big Beaver Road and Troy Center Drive. Sean Lay with us now. Sean, residents are telling you they haven't had heat now in days.
And the other part of this problem is that disabled adults who call this place home for independent living, the group helping them, was never told by the complex that there was an order to vacate this place, even though there was a big sticker on the front door. We were here today, so up here, residents were telling us it's a huge complex. Heat here, for the most part, not down here, ice cold. And there's another problem now that is coming up that Troy officials are watching very closely.
I know for sure the first floor is like completely cold, like it feels like outside.
Amber McDuffie lives at Troy Place Apartments. She was as shocked as we were to find this notice plastered on the door. Do not occupy, uninhabitable conditions. One big and freezing issue, no heat all week, along with confusion about what to do.
The city of Troy said it was stay at your own risk. I said if that was the case, why didn't they post that as well as posting all of the other things?
First thing I do in any case like this is come right to the office and ask what's being done, how this is being handled. If it's a do not occupy this building, what's happening to the residents? So there's no one here right now, and I can feel and hear heat coming out of this vent in this section of the building. We need to check all the sections of this building. It's huge. Troy city manager confirming to me that a crew was on site today fixing the heating system, but no heat all week. Troy Place is also home to On My Own Michigan clients to help the disabled have independent living. Apartment management apparently never alerting On My Own to come check on their clients or move them out.
When we went back to the apartments, it was surrounded by police, and then we started moving our students out.
And still some are fed up when they were told earlier, you can't stay here.
With the inspector coming through yesterday saying everybody has to leave, they give us a list of like Red Roof Inn saying it's cheap. Nobody should have to leave their apartment on their own dime because it's uninhabitable.
Troy City Manager telling me they launched an emergency management operation here with Oakland County to help people if they were vacating from this place. But there was a crew here today getting heat back here. So the Troy City Manager and City of Troy Fire Department pleased that heat is now being restored. With no heat this week, guys, the fire suppression pipes that do the sprinklers, some of them burst. So that's the next thing. They need to make sure those are working and fixed right away because some folks here were using space heaters in their units. So Troy's on top of it, but they got to make sure it's okay.
Let's hope so. All right, Sean. Well, after a snowy morning and into the afternoon, freezing temperatures now moving back into Metro Detroit.
I know, but look at this view from our
Lovely.
Windsor Sky Cam at the Detroit River and the skyline. Let's get on over to forewarned meteorologist Kim Adams with a look at what we can expect this weekend.
Well, we once again have dangerously cold wind chills tomorrow morning. 18 below in Pontiac. This is Saturday, 6 a.m. It will feel like it's 18 below in Ann Arbor, 18 below across much of Metro Detroit on the west side, then the east side, 12 below in Mount Clemens, 15 below out at the airport and downtown Detroit. So definitely cold. Current wind chills are just above freezing at Metro Airport, 13 in Pontiac, 2 in Mount Clemens, 6 in Monroe, and 5 the current wind chill in Grosse Ile. Tomorrow, we start the day with a temperature at 8 a.m. of 3. Some of the suburbs will likely be below 0 with the air temperatures, and then again, those wind chills 15 to 20 degrees below 0. It will be dry tomorrow, no problems with snow, but definitely a bitterly cold day. Not as cold as it was in 1984. Yesterday marks the coldest day ever on record. This is not a wind chill. This was the actual temperature on January 21st, 1984. Our temperature trend is going in the right direction, though. We've got 2 more days below average, which is 32 degrees by next week. A week from today, it will be 40. But we get some rain in here next week. We'll talk about that coming up.